Bring in Carl Jones. He's the executive producer and head writer of Black Dynamite, the animated series on Adult Swim. He's also co-executive producer of the hit animated series The Boondocks, which won a Peabody Award and was nominated for an NAACP Image Award. Carl, nice to have you on. Welcome.
Thank you. How you doing, Brooke?
I am doing all right, Carl. I'm doing all right. Just listening to Eric Garner's daughter saying, it was less about race and more about, the abuse of power, police brutality. You agree with that?
Well, I mean, I look at the history of this country and I look at the pattern, and it's obviously a repeat pattern. And I think a lot of it has to do with the dehumanization of black men in this country. And I think that can be largely contributed to social engineering as well as negative media propaganda. Unfortunately, when Obama was elected, I think two things happened in this country. I think one, black people felt as though we made it, and I think a lot of white people felt as though we just lost our country. So I think those two things together, kind of created a recipe for disaster. And there was never this empathy or any type of sympathy for black men in America. And I think a lot of that is due to what we see in the media.
Well, I think listen, you can say the media. I think it's also pop culture, movies, and I think that's also from what I can understand, because you talk about this stereotype that black men are perceived by some, not all, Carl, but it is these superhuman monsters. That was something I read that you said. Where do you think that comes from? Well,
I mean, look. If Obama looked like Sam Jackson, I don't think he ever would have made it in the office. I don't care. Well, what I mean is that I think there's a certain fear that's associated with our image, and a lot of it is due to when I say media, it's also television and film. For example, when you see stories that are told about black people, for example, like in the American Gangster movie, you take a guy like Frank Lucas, who we see this film about a guy who was just hell-bent on destroying his own community and selling heroin and pumping drugs into the black community, but there was never any context or any backstory to actually understand the circumstances that gave birth to this type of mentality. So you don't have any type of empathy for him as a human being. Like you don't know anything about him growing up in the South and witnessing his family members getting their heads blown off by the Ku Klux Klan. So we start from a place of them being demonized or black men being vicious. When you listen to when you listen to Zimmerman and you listen to the police officer that shot Mike Brown, you see, they killed Mike Brown. You'll see that there's a pattern. Like people, they're saying that they feared for their lives and they seen these people as demons and they look like, he even gave an example of Hulk Hogan. Like there's definitely a perception of black men in this country that is feared,